time to put your tray tables up and your seat backs in the full upright position as we head into the Kickstarter Pickstarters for April 6th, 2020.
Tales from the Loop is everywhere these days. First, it was an award-winning RPG, now it is an Amazon television series, and now it is being turned into a board game. From Free League Publishing, the same people that brought you the role-playing game, they now have Tales from the Loop, the board game, on Kickstarter. It is the same premise, based on the same artwork, same style, same theme. You are a group of kids in the 80s, and you live in a time in which there are robots and other strange aspects of technology and mysteries for you to solve, in addition to carrying out the basic tasks of your life, going to school, etc., etc. This is a fully cooperative game, and you'll be working together, traveling around the board to solve those mysteries. You'll be able to find certain special things. You'll be making tests to determine how you do when you encounter those things. Those involve dice rolls, very similar, really, to the role-playing game, if you're familiar with that. It seems like a lot of this was adapted pretty directly into this. And there's also, of course, a school phase that starts off each round. So you will have to encounter certain events during that period of time, and you have to make sure that you get home in time at night, or your parents will get mad at you and you might become grounded. So it's an interesting balance between your home life and then going out into the world and finding strange artifacts and mysteries. The game will come with a few different scenarios. There could be more, depending on stretch goals and things. Each of those scenarios, they said, is like maybe roughly a 2-hour experience, give or take, and with, of course, the possibility of expansions in the future. I'm not sure, so I assume you can replay those, but some of the events will change, but maybe the core mystery will be the same. There also is a print and play right now if you want to try that out. But yeah, I think it's cool to look at this, we just streamed the RPG recently, and now it feels like I can't escape Tales from the Loop. It's everywhere I look.
I mean, people got to check out the stream. Now, I do have a couple quick questions about the inspiration, outside the obvious taking from Shenmue 1 with the making sure you get home on time. But it sounds like it's based just like on the art, but not the show. But did they strictly say that it's not the characters on the show, or will we actually see those characters?
No, it's definitely not related to the show. This is, other than the fact that it's the same theme and kind of the same general idea. No, it's the characters are directly, if you look at the art for the classes that you can choose, the types in the RPG, they use that art for the characters in this game.
Okay, so we're in Sweden.
I'm pretty sure you're in Sweden, yes, based on the look of the board. Yeah, it's all Swedish all the time. It looks like if you've played the RPG, you'll be right at home, and even if you haven't, pretty straightforward. And seems like a cool thematic idea, and hopefully it translates as well to this game as it did to the book. The game goes for $59, or if you pay a little extra for the deluxe edition, you get your minis pre-painted, those cool little robot minis. It's Tales from the Loop.
The Kodama line from indie boards and cards is growing ever more with now Kodama Forest. This game, you are going to be growing a forest with the people on your left and right. This is sort of similar to Between Two Towns or Between Two Castles of Mad King Ludwig, where you will have to balance your scores on both boards. The way the boards are laid out is that there are dirt spots and Kodama spots. The Kodama spots cannot be covered up by the tiles you'll be placing. You're going to try to cover up the dirt spots, in particular the ones with higher numbers on them, because you're trying to have the least amount of dirt showing at the end of the game. Once someone has covered up all their 5s and 10s on their board, you're going to count the number of dirt spots on both boards. So unlike the previous Between Two Cities where you score the board that has your highest value, you're going to score both of them, but you're going to add them together and that will be your personal score. Whoever has the lowest score will be the winner. I like this Between Two Cities style of mechanic because it's very interesting. You have to sort of work with the two different boards and how to deal with, like, you can't just load one board with all the good stuff or else the other board's going to ruin you. But this one plays a little differently with the scoring because it's not just, it's my highest one that, or at least not as good one that is the best. You have to add both of them up together. So there is a reward to get both of them sort of close.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's cool. I think in general, I love that mechanic. Even it's not really quite the same, but even something like Seven Wonders, any of these games where it's important to pay attention specifically to your neighbors and what they're doing and that their actions can directly affect you or vice versa. I think that's an interesting idea that I find it cool. And I also just love those little Kodamas.
No, I mean, there are plenty of games And I'm sure, especially when you get to the really more advanced, where you sort of realize, like, depending on who you're sitting next to could affect your gameplay.
Right. It could be good or bad.
I like it when when the game takes that into account a lot more. But I like this also because the tiles actually have artwork on them that matter. They could have half a flower, bamboo grove, and ponds. Should you match them up, you get bonus tiles. So you're going to have to plan that way as well. If this game sounds interesting to you, it's only $34. And of course, there are higher pledge levels to get some of the other Kodama games in Indie Board Games line. So definitely worth checking out.
Excavation Earth comes to us from Mighty Boards, and a couple of designers with titles you might be familiar with, like Anachrony, Kitchen Rush, Posthuman Saga, and Vengeance behind this game. Again, it is called Excavation Earth, and that's what you'll be doing. You'll be excavating Earth as a team of alien explorers, and you're out to make money, really, is your objective. And to do so, you're going to be digging around, excavating different sites on the planet, trying to find cool artifacts. So there's a bit of a set collecting aspect to this game. Depending on which artifacts you get, you'll be rewarded. There are different colors and how you arrange them, etc. Also, there's an economic side to it. There's going to be a marketplace, and that marketplace can change. It could be manipulated by the players themselves, and that will determine how much those artifacts are worth, because certain buyers will want certain other types of artifacts that you find. There's this sort of, it's a political aspect thematically. You can send people to the council, the mothership, to also show off your political influence on Earth to get points that way. And then there's also kind of a drafting phase. Beginning of each round, you'll draft a new hand of cards, and depending on what you get, that will determine what actions you can take and where you can take them. So there's kind of a lot going on in this one. It sounded like a cool blend of all these different elements to me, and the look of it seems elegant. It seems smooth to play, and I haven't played a lot of those games that I mentioned, but I know a lot of them have been pretty well received. So I thought this one looked pretty cool, pretty interesting. And it's a sci-fi game that takes an economic approach. It's a little different than, you're not killing each other.
I'm curious because you keep saying artifacts from Earth. Is this more serious? Like, are we finding the Mona Lisa or advanced technology? Or is it more tongue-in-cheek where, oh man, look at this weird cylinder white paper object I found?
No, it's not like that. It's not like Pikmin or something. No, it's definitely, I mean, it's not goofy. It's not humorous. It's a more serious take on it. If you want to dig up the relics of Earth's past as an alien race, you can do so for only $50 through this campaign. There are also some expansions and things like that on there you can take a look at. That is Excavation Earth.
This next game is small, but seems to play like one of our favorite games, Hanabi, and that's Fallen Angels by Side Room Games. In this game, there'll be a simple deck of cards with pictures of criminals from the actual 1920s Australia. The cards will have two sides. One side will show two symbols, such as an eye and a fingerprint. The other side only showing one of them, for example, the eye. The detective for the round will show the card so he only sees the one side. For example, let's continue with the one before with the eye, while showing everyone else the other side, which shows the two symbols. The other players will divide the cards in their hand into two groups. Will either have one of the symbols and the other one not having any of the icons. Now, they will show their hand to the detective, and of course, they can only see the side with the one symbol. And just like how he can only see the side with one symbol of the one he's holding up. He will then have to decide what the other symbol is on his card based on how the other hands are showing. So, for example, he knows that there's an eye on the card he's holding up. And if he looks at another player's hand, he sees, okay, I'm seeing some eye symbols, but I'm also seeing some fingerprints and also magnifying glasses, because he might not know if it's also eyes as being what's hidden on the other card. So he has to sort of look at everyone's hand and try to deduce what the other symbol is by seeing how the certain cards are being paired up. The more convicts you catch, the better your score is. It, like I said, very similar to Hanabi, where you have to sort of use other players' hands to sort of deduce. But I like this idea of sort of getting half information. And another great thing is it's only $12.
That's a great thing. No, yeah, I like that. That sounds interesting. Like you said, you have a little bit of a tidbit, so you have something to work with. I don't know if I missed it. Maybe you said it. Is this competitive? Or Or you're working?
No, this is
Oh,
cooperative.
you are still working together. Okay.
Yes, you are still working together. I would hope so. Other than some people could be really
I thought
that
maybe
hand sword.
I think it'd be interesting if like one person was the detective and everyone else was a convict.
Maybe,
but that's obviously not what the game is. Let's put those nasty Australian criminals in jail where they belong.
You mean Australia?
Yes, that's right. Oh boy.
But like I said, this goes for $12, $20 to get your name inside of it. Looks like Hanabi, which is a very well-received game and a fun little twist on it. So if you do like Hanabi or any of those kinds of games when you have to work together with secret information, definitely take a look at Fallen Angels.
And for our last pick of the episode, I wanted to mention some new ones from Sierra Madre Games. They've got 3-in-1 in this Kickstarter. First is the second edition of PAX Renaissance, a classic game where you are playing as bankers manipulating empires and trying to gain power and control. Then they also have a brand new addition to the series called PAX Viking, which is another game still about economics and marketplaces and trading, but now you are Vikings, go out into the world exploring, leading your tribe, and trying to find the best places to set up shop and gain new cards from the marketplaces there. And then there is a module for High Frontier, and this is the third module that they're adding to the game. This is a sci-fi game where you are dealing with space, but again, kind of with the economy and market. There's a theme going on here, but this adds some new things to the game. The new second edition of PAX Renaissance adds some updated rules and components, new artwork, has some nice quality of life changes, like now you can overlap cards in your tableau just to save table space. These are not games that I'm personally familiar with, but I feel like I hear them thrown around a lot, especially, more on the fans of more on the Euro side, but still thematic as well. And I just thought it was worth mentioning because I'm sure that people would be interested in this one.
Now, I don't think you have the answer to this. Unless you do, I'd be surprised. But I'd love to hear from the comments. Is PAX Latin for something? Because we also had like the previous game that took place in the Middle East that started with PAX. I'm totally blanking on. Thank you.
We could look it up. We could Google it.
We probably could. But I'd love to hear from our lovely viewers.
I thought these
first.
were all based around the Penny Arcade Expo.
Yeah, that's usually what comes to mind for me whenever I hear PAX, but not anymore.
You can get either of those two PAX games for $64. The new High Frontier expansion is for $14, or you can mix and match or combine them however you like.
Those are our picks for this week. We've got some modular, interesting stuff, as well as some that are based off of an artwork that was also produced a show and an RPG. So plenty to choose from.
That's a lot. Yeah. Let us know in the comments which ones of these are you looking at, or did you spend all your allotted Kickstarter money for the month on Frosthaven and you're out of the game. You're out of the game already. Talk to us below. Till next time, I'm Jonathan.
I'm Will.
And this was Kickstarter Pickstarter.
We want you to like and subscribe, and if you have the chance, take a look at our Patreon.
Thank you for being a friend. Subscribe to our channel and back again. Okay.